Welcome to the All Things BMX show, where it is Wednesday night here, but it is Thursday where our guest is. We have episode 184. The time is now. We got Martin Ward from Sqorz hanging out with us this evening. It's going to be a good time. We're coming to you live from the Ethan Clark studio here in the busy, not so busy, but busy metropolis.
Yeah, it was busy when I came through town.
Yeah, you catch the one stoplight here?
Yeah, I got stuck at this stoplight.
9 o'clock. It just goes to a flashing red here.
We're gonna talk about this little guy right here.
Chris got a new toy in the mail. Chris and I are here at the AOT news desk. You guys, make sure you get over. They're still picking up riders for the year, man. So if you haven't done it, get on over to AOT and check them out. Melissa is hanging out with us. She's at her perch back there, brought to you by Gate 9 Custom Number Plate. Sounds like Billy's been pretty busy lately, Melissa.
I guess. Except I didn't wear my We Want Billy on the Show shirt.
Oh.
We're still waiting.
Hey, let us know in the chat if you want to see Billy from Gate 9 on the show.
Yeah.
I think we do. We got to get him on the show.
Well, he did a little interview at the Grands a couple weeks ago, and everybody was pretty impressed.
Maybe we can get him to come up here, and we'll actually have him in the studio.
Oh, he probably would like that better.
I don't know. Is the thong still back there on the wall?
Yeah, it's somewhere.
Yeah, they're hidden back there.
Yeah, it's kind of behind the
Yeah,
Danger Snacks bringing our guest this week. You guys, if you haven't done it, get on over to dangersnacks.com. Use our discount code SHITSHOW when you're ordering and get yourself a discount on the order. The show's chat is sponsored by BMX Rocks Photography, and they bring you our chat question for the week.
Hey, real BMX Rocks. They have like trading card stickers. You get a picture of your rider, and it's a sticker, but it also looks similar to like a baseball card. Make a good Christmas present.
There you go. Get one of Chris. Do a screenshot right now of him. No. Our chat question this evening for you guys watching right now, and even if you're listening later on, who is your favorite Australian BMX racer of all time? You got one, Chris?
Well, geez, you have to go with Sam Willoughby. I mean, that's the go-to quick one.
Melissa, do you have a favorite Australian BMX racer?
I mean, Martin's kids are kind of high on my list.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, that's a good answer, too.
My answer is Hunter Boshin.
Hunter?
Yep. His dad tunes in.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Our friend that is in the chat all the time. Yes.
Yeah. There you go. Tonight's lightning round is brought to you by 110 Nutrition. When you got another place you can use a discount code over there. It's All Things BMX. Get over there, get 10% off. Our show doesn't happen without the support of the following groups here. It's Dye Job Apparel, Ghetto Wear, The Hack Shack, and DB Sports, The Hack Shack. If you guys are looking for one of them awesome side hacks, hit up homie Mike. He can whip one up. I seen he was banging out a big 29-inch one here the other
He's making
month.
for 29ers now.
Yeah, cruisers, 29. He had a standard one he made. Somebody had one that had the instant engagement silent hubs, Onyx hubs on them.
Really?
Bro.
That's sweet.
2024 is going to be the year of the side hack, so order now.
Get ahead of the rush.
Yeah.
Or get your sprint stand.
You got to stop with the bro, though. You know that's not the latest.
What is the latest?
What's the latest?
Blood.
It's
interchangeable from what I understand.
I like bro.
It's
better.
hard. Yeah, it's hard. It's so hard keeping.
Oh my God, you should talk to my daughter for 5 minutes. Every other word is blood.
So
are you kidding me? I gotta go do that. Blood. I don't have time.
Really?
It's so hard to keep up.
In place of bro.
Hey, I want to let everyone know coming up here on the 20th of January. Got a big party going on at Ray's Mountain Bike Park in Cleveland. We have Mando's. We have Pat Welch's birthday and ATB's birthday.
Pat's birthday, too.
Pat's birthday is going to be going on, too.
All right. So everybody come to Ray's in Cleveland, Ohio.
We're going to be partying all weekend.
Yep.
Riding our bikes and
you know what the best thing?
A lot of ibuprofen.
Well, I don't want to say the best thing, but one of the great things about Ray's is it doesn't matter if it's raining or snowing or what's going on outside because it's all indoors.
Nope. That's right.
You can't get rained out at Ray's.
It's that time, Chris. Let's welcome our guest.
Let's do it. Martin, welcome into the All Things BMX show.
Good morning or good afternoon, and thank you.
It'd be evening here, but yeah. So let's start out where we usually do. How did you find out about the sport of BMX?
Well, probably like most people, dragged into it by my children. Kai, who I think you know, really liked riding bicycles. When he was 3 years old, he used to ride down our driveway and skid at the bottom and say, "Did you see any smoke?" Because he was interested in smoke coming up from his back tire. So we knew he liked that stuff. He forced us to take his stabilizers, if that's what you call them, off his bike when he was 3, because his 5-year-old friend wasn't using them, so he thought he shouldn't use them. So before he was 4, we had him down a BMX track, and there was no looking back.
Okay. So for folks that don't know, who are your children?
Okay, so my son is Kai Sakakibara, and my daughter is Saya Sakakibara.
There we go. Okay. We have to assume folks don't know what we're talking about.
And we've got different surnames, and it confuses people.
Yeah.
And where are you at right now, so people that are listening to the show later on know exactly where you're at right now?
I'm in my room in my house in Helensburgh in New South Wales. So it's a small town just south of Sydney, Australia, on the East Coast.
All right.
International, man.
Yeah. So, and it's Thursday where you are right now.
Yeah, we're ahead of you guys.
Yeah. Right.
Is it? Aren't the seasons flipped?
Yes.
So it's summer where you're at right now.
We're moving into summer.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
But it's a big country, right? It's a big continent like you guys. And there's a massive difference between north and south and east and west and the middle and the outside. So the north is tropical and never gets cold. It's got 2 seasons, wet and dry.
Right.
That's the bit that's closest to the equator. So probably a bit like Florida, I suppose. I'm not sure.
That's
and
nice.
Then the south, we've got Tasmania, which is a state or a small island, and it gets pretty cold down there.
Okay. Yeah, I have a friend. She's actually moved back to Australia now, but I never realized it's the opposite there. So at Christmas time, you guys are warm. It's summertime and all that during Christmas time, and then when we're hot in the sun, it's snowing and cold and all that stuff there in June, July, August. So,
yeah, do you know what? Christmas in summer. I'm originally from England, right? So Christmas in England looks like this. It gets cold, but everybody spends lots of money, and then you have Christmas, and then you have the New Year. Then it gets really cold, and no one's got any money, and the nights are dark, and it's droll and dreary, right? But over here it's different because the nights are long, and it's summer holidays for the kids, right? So they have long school summer holidays.
Oh,
and of course, because this is where you have your 6 weeks off. At the end of December to the end of January, it's school summer holidays, and you go swimming, you have barbecues, a Christmas barbecue, you see your families, and it's great. It's really, really good.
Okay. So is there, like for us here in Michigan, there's an off season for BMX, usually November through, let's say, beginning of 1st of May is kind of the off season here. Is there anything like that in Australia where you don't?
Yeah, it's interesting. So we sort of stop the main races, all the state series finish around October time, and then you'll move into, it's just club racing or track racing, like you call it, over through the summer holidays.
Yep.
And we start up again probably in February. But interestingly, New Zealand, which is just across the ditch, they call it, it's a 3-hour plane ride from where I am. Their off season is in the winter because it's wet. It's very wet and dreary during that time. So their season starts our spring, which is your autumn, and then they just go all the way through. So it's
I thought that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
All right.
And I know in the UK, I've seen pictures of you guys probably do it too. People riding in the snow. I mean, for me, that's crazy. But
that is crazy.
Melissa and I, we live right next to a mountain bike park, so I'll be leaving some mornings or coming home in the afternoon or evening time in the winter, and I see the fat tire bike guys like going over there to the mountain bike trails. I'm like, no, I'm good.
No. Do you know what? It's my fingers get cold. That's what happens with that kind of stuff, and then you can't put your brakes on.
Oh, you know what I saw on the back of a car the other day going to a place? He had these gloves things on the handlebars. So I was like, oh, that's a neat idea. Yeah. Until you got to get your hands out quick.
That's true.
you just accept the inevitability. Like, my hands are warm, but I'm
laying it down.
You're just laying her down. I don't know.
They must be open enough that you can get your hands.
Let's
up.
hope so.
I would hope. Yeah. Who knows?
Be some dudes laying down over there. Can't get to their phones.
Get stuck with your hands.
Hey, if you guys got questions, comments for Martin, put them in the chat. All of the links for Martin's social media for Sqorz that we're going to get into here, they're all in the show notes and descriptions, you guys. So if you guys got something slides by as we're talking, you guys can go there and get that information right in the description of the show. And again, if you guys got questions, put them in the chat. I got one for you, man. What Sqorz? Where did it come from?
Okay, so I come from an IT background or technology background, and obviously I come from BMX. And I remember talking to the guy who had created the software that we use for racing BMX in Australia, something called BEM, and he'd made it by getting Excel to do things that Excel should never, ever, ever do. And he'd done an amazing job. And he was saying that he was looking for the next evolution of what that was going to be, because Microsoft keep changing. Excel, they're removing macros, they're tightening down security, and his program was going to stop working. And this was in 2015, I think, and it started me thinking that perhaps that was something I could do. And my friend, who I used to work with in industry, he's an ace developer. He is just amazing what he can do. And I convinced him to work with me on this project to replace the incumbent software in Australia with Sqorz. And luckily he said yes, because the amazingness, the cool functionality and that type of stuff is the product of his brain and his skill. So then we came up with the name Sqorz, which was, luckily we were able to find something that sounded like scoring, and we use Sqorz. It's a five character name, and we managed to get the domain sqorz.com. So we're really, really excited about that.
How long did it take you guys from kind of the inception, the idea, to your first sort of iteration of the product?
It just felt like ages, because I just wanted to go from day one. But we started out by saying, do we get this software that's already here and try and rebuild it? But it's like getting a vintage car and trying to put electric windows on it. It's just not going to work. So it probably took a year and a half before we could get something out there to the local clubs. In fact, probably took almost exactly a year and a half before we got the beta version out there for people to try. And that was quite exciting when we did that. But there's so much, when you're starting from nothing, there's so much that you have to do to get the basic. To get basics, you have to have so much in place.
So so your first version of it was at around 2018 then?
Yeah, it was January 2018, when the season started. There's a club called Castle Hill Club in New South Wales, so they are officially the first ever users of the Sqorz software.
Okay.
Very visionary and taking a risk, obviously.
Right. What's been your biggest roadblock with the software and getting it out to the masses?
Well, change, and that's probably a couple of things, but it's all in one basket. But what we realized was, from the software that was here before, is that you need to invest in software to make sure that it keeps up with, even if your software is not improving, you still need to invest in it to make sure it still does what it does today as it did when you first built it. So that takes time and that takes money. So what we learned from the previous software was, that this person made this great software, and then they put it on the table and said, there you go, and they didn't charge anything for it. And so everybody expected software to cost nothing. And we're up there saying, well, we've got this software and we're going to charge a nominal fee for it, and we're going to reinvest that in the software, so we never, ever get stuck in the position where the software is not fit for purpose. But people didn't get that, and it took a long time. So that's one thing. And obviously the second thing is, a lot of people who are running clubs and local tracks are volunteers. And when you say to them, hey, here's this great software, it's going to improve your rider engagement and that type of stuff, that's all well and good, but it's another thing for them it's another hump, another thing for them to do in their busy day, as well as looking after kids and families and dogs and whatever else they do. to learn something new, even if the end game is going to be easier, it's more work at the start. So there's a couple of roadblocks or challenges that we have to manage.
Do you find like certain countries, kind of there's that international model and the USA model, does one adopt faster than the other?
I tell you, it's interesting because Australia was particularly slow. We had a lot of resistance initially, and France was completely opposite. I can't believe how quickly France came on board. Mm-hmm. So you just can't pick it.
Okay.
But what we did find is that what's really important is to have people who believe in what we're trying to do. They're visionaries in their own area. They're probably influential. They probably have a technology background, and they can see where this is going, and they're prepared to go out of their way to make an effort to encourage other people to come on board. So those type of people in every region or organization or country are super important. And conversely, if you've got someone who's influential who's against it, then you're not going to make any progress.
Very good points there.
Yeah.
I know we've got some tracks around us that are going to it and have went to it. Lots of positive feedbacks. Are you the system integrates with both gate companies, correct? The ProStar and ProGate, right?
Yeah, I should have got some stuff to show you. Yeah. So interestingly, we talked to Justin Miller from ProGate. Mm-hmm. He's been great, obviously, and ProStar. They're good. Everybody's good. I should not pick any favourites here, but we used to have a guy in Australia who made a start box, and that start box used to take the start signal from gates and then send it into the decoder that came to Sqorz, and then he unfortunately passed away, and suddenly the whole industry doesn't have these start boxes, and Justin Miller from ProGate came to the rescue, and he designed and built a really, really nice gate start pulse box that works with every gate. He said, well, I'm not just going to make it for ProGate. He made it to work with ProStar and the Cartessa gates and everything is there. So really, really, really good of him to do that. So what that means is we can integrate or we can take the gate signal from whatever gate there is.
Okay. What is a typical track calls up, says, hey, we want to do this. We want to, we want to implement this into our track. What's the timeline look like, and what parts of it happens, and how does it all happen?
Okay, so I like to talk to all the tracks. I mean, people want me to send them masses of documentation, but every track is so different and has different challenges, and everybody has different questions and needs to know different things. So I like to talk to them and explain to them the options. But essentially, we've got this package where we offer a hardware solution with 3 timing loops, and we offer 3 because we offer 3 because in the old days in Australia and the UK, we only offered 2. We offered 1 timing loop at the bottom of the start hill and 1 at the finish. And we thought that was great. And it was great for racing, but we totally missed out then about training and gate nights and that type of stuff. So when you think about gates and training and gate nights, everybody goes down the first straight as hard as they can, or almost everybody, and they all back off in the first corner because it's just not possible to do full laps all day, every day. It's too hard, right? But first straight, is it important? Absolutely it is, because if you're in the corner first, there's a high chance you're out of the corner first. So we have a timing loop. We always recommend a timing, unless your first straight is like at the Silver Dollar Nationals, where it's like about 20 feet long or whatever it is. Then you really need a timing loop at the entrance to the first straight because it gets used every time. And we have these conversations with tracks, and I'll say, hey guys, we want to put in a 3 timing loop system. And they'll say, oh, great. We'll have one at 30 foot, whole shot, exit the first corner and the finish. And I'll say, well, I agree with the finish, absolutely. But I think you need to have a timing loop at the entrance to the first straight, because if it's at the exit, it only ever gets used in a race. Answer whole shot challenge and here's your check. It's a bit gimmicky in a way. Not really, but it doesn't get the use it would get if you get a timing loop at the entrance to the first corner.
Yeah.
So then we have that conversation. Then we have another conversation about the start hill. So, okay, where will we put the loop on the start hill, the timing loop? Everyone says 30 foot. Well, 30 foot is an arbitrary distance given by USA BMX that says you can't go out of your racing lane up until the 30-foot mark, I believe, right?
Yes.
Correct.
If your hill is exactly 30 foot long, then I totally agree with that. And unless you're Naples track in Florida, where your hill is so short, the actual 30 foot actually extends along the flat bit, right?
Yep.
But apart from that, if your hill is longer than 30 foot long, you should be timing to the bottom of your start hill, because you could be just winding up at the 30-foot mark, and you could be really racing when you get down to the bottom of that hill, and that's the time you want, from the start gate to the bottom of the hill. And your 30-foot line really is just a 30-foot line. It's not comparable with anybody else, any other track, because your 30-foot might be 29 foot at Rock Hill, and 31 foot at Cape Coral or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And your angle of your hill is different, all that type of stuff. So it doesn't mean anything. That time from when the gate drops to where you're measuring is only really relevant for your track that you're on at that time.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll recommend those 3 timing loops: the bottom of the start hill and the entrance, the first corner, and the finish, and put that in a package together with a decoder that takes all those signals, and a start pulse box that we get from Justin Miller, ProGate, and throw all that information together and connect all to a laptop with Sqorz on it, which processes the data and sends it out to people.
Wow.
Okay.
Sorry, did I ramble?
No.
That makes total sense about the 30-foot line, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People get so stuck on that, though. It kind of makes sense why that's the first request.
Yeah.
God, you just broke it down. It's like, that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
It just means you can't go left or right in a
don't
USA
slide
BMX race. Anywhere else, if you're racing UCI, you're fine.
Oh, is it? Oh,
You
that's
can windshield wiper if you want.
It's wide open.
You can go 8-1.
Yeah, and then you'll talk to some of the pros. I think I talked to Joris about this, and I might even have talked to Romain McHugh, and what they said was that they would like to have the timing loop just beyond the transition, because they want to know how that. I don't know about that. I don't think that's so. But anyway, whatever. That's what they for them. That's important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, coming down the big hill, I can see where that. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Right at
you want to know where you're at the bottom of the big hill, right?
That's right. Yeah. So for the big hills, though, there's also we put a timing loop on the kink. So you have your 8-meter hill, and it comes down at an angle, and then there's about 6 or 8 or whatever feet it is. It goes down at another angle, so it affects what you're doing. So we'll put a timing loop there, so you'll get your first rush out of the gate, and then you'll get your second measurement down to the bottom of the hill.
I can tell you this: anyone that I know that has used this, say they instantly say like practice is better because of it being more of a tool, so they can be there and do a gate, and you can think like, oh, that was good compared to what, and then they can go look at their times and see like, oh, maybe that didn't feel good, but that time was faster. And I know tracks that had it, that they say like it increases the participation level of the riders there, because they can they'll hit the gate and instantly go look at their times.
I've heard lots of feedback like that too.
Yeah, it was Nashville had they had TVs, so like you could when you come back round, you'd see your
like in the staging area,
somewhere.
Yeah, because they have a covered gate, so they probably could
they're
get
fancy
TVs
down
up.
They're fancy down there.
Hey, that's all right, man.
They got ceiling. They got ceiling fans in their staging area, man.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, well, you get that.
Oki Healy has these massive screens that they got from Walmart, because TVs are cheap these days, and they've got them there under staging. And they've got a big roof there, got it up there.
Yeah.
That's a good idea too.
All right.
Right.
So my little gizmo here I can see what I'm doing.
That's what talks to his software.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Baby steps, Chris.
I know.
I'm gonna enter the realm of the IT world here.
This is a little over me, man. Yeah, I can send email.
You the Now I know like when you're burying the wire can only be down so far, so it can still pick up the frequency off your transponder. How long did it take for you guys? Like, did you guys have one of those stories where like you guys were testing these things and it was like that didn't work, but it ended up being one of those funny stories afterwards when you were trying to implement some of the back end stuff on the software?
My initial response to that was say sort of no, because in a way it's really straightforward and there's a lot of common sense in how you apply it. So, for example, if it's a timing loop is essentially an antenna and your transponders on your bike, so you want to get them as close together as possible. So, from that respect, you would try not to bury the loop too deeply. Try and keep it at the top of the track, so you want it as high as you can without being the possibility of it being damaged in track maintenance and that type of stuff. So that kind of stuff was pretty straightforward. We did get caught out with, it's not funny though, that's the trouble. I don't have a funny technological answer, but we did get caught out by concrete because concrete's a signal inhibitor and we put concrete over a loop. It's much more of a signal inhibitor than asphalt. So you can have loops underneath asphalt and a hot mix and they work, but underneath concrete they don't. So that was, and possibly there's something to do with what do you call it in the concrete, the rebar and that type of stuff that impacts that.
That makes sense. So
I did have one in Sarasota when I was there with Sarasota with John Pearce in 2019, I think, or 2018, I can't remember. And I set something up and said, we're going to try this and we're going to have a time from the kink and we're going to have a time at the bottom of the hill. And I put it all onto one decoder. So it's a bit technical, really. And we sent 3 riders down the gate and we sent them down the hill. And when we got to the bottom of the hill, I only picked up the time from one of the riders and the other 2 I didn't. And I couldn't work out why that was. And it turns out after I researched it that the decoders have something in there that says if they see a signal and they see the same signal again within 2 seconds, they ignore the second one because they assume it's somebody who's tripped up over the finish line or gone back over it or done something like that. So what was happening with these 3 riders going down the hill, with 2 of them were going faster than the other one, and 2 of them hit the bottom of the hill within the 2-second period, so the decoder ignored those, and the third one was going a bit slower and the decoder picked them up. Again, not funny, but for me that was technically interesting, trying to work out through that problem.
So when you, just to kind of, I don't know, clarify for folks that don't know, a timing loop is a wire basically that's run underground.
Yeah, can you see stuff if I show it to you?
Oh, sure.
Yep. I'll go to full screen on you.
Oh, I should have been better prepared. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This is a timing loop. Looks like this. Oops, there you go. It's just a wire. It's 3 mil thick. It's just a copper wire. It's got a resistor at the end, which is 230 ohms, I think, which goes on one side of the track. It's in resin and it's completely strong and tough. And then you have this timing loop that goes in the track or runs in conduit under the track, or you put it in the dirt, or you cut channels. You cut channels with a concrete saw and put this in, and it goes across. It's a loop, so it goes across the track.
Okay, so it's actually both sides of the wire. It almost looks like a U when it's in the ground.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, and that's why we call it a loop. Sorry, it's a bit fuzzy, but anyway, that's why we call it a loop. It loops across the track, and then there's 2 little connectors at the end of it. So that just goes across the track, and that's there. And then your 2 connectors will connect to some more connectors here, which connects to this black box, which goes through this yellow cable, which is essentially coax. It's like TV coax with a plug on the end that will plug into the back of your decoder.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah. I just wanted to kind of clarify that for folks that don't know what we're talking about, that haven't seen it or seen what's under the ground, I guess.
Yeah. So it's just a timing loop, or it's a loop. And the way it works is you have a transponder that's on the forks of your bike. And the transponder, it's not like a metal detector where it just picks something up and says, oh, there it is. It actually works on motion. So you have your transponder, which is the red thing that you've got, Chris, that you
Oh, yeah.
Kept showing.
The little red. I guess people see this in the magazine or online. The little red. Was it rectangle on the forks you see on most of the people that have them on their bikes?
Yeah, so I do have a funny story, but so that goes on the bottom of the forks, right? But it goes on the bottom of the forks because you want it as close as you can to the ground, right? But you don't want it on the dropouts because that means it's facing forward and will produce an incorrect reading. You actually want it up and down as much as possible. Anyway, it's on the forks. Yeah, because it's got an antenna inside it. So if somebody has them on the dropouts on the front of the forks, they'll probably get a slight advantage in terms of timing. There you go.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So anyway, so as the transponder comes up to the loop, it starts sending signals, and it says like, I am here, I am here, I'm here. And as it goes across the loop, and the decoder measures that signal strength, the decoder is the thing that processes this information. So as it goes, the rider rides across the loop, the decoder gets a series of signals, signal strength that varies, where it gets weak and stronger and stronger and stronger, and then weaker and weaker and weaker as the rider goes over the loop. And so what the decoder does is picks the strongest signal strength and said, that's the time I'm using. And when it gets the strongest signal strength is when the transponder is in the middle of the timing loop.
Okay.
So and this all happens in a nanosecond.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
There's multiple signals going on. Yeah.
Do they, in tracks that are temporary built, like the Grand's track or like you were saying, the Vegas one, at those, they bury the cable too at those? Or they
yeah.
That's the same process? Okay. Just curious.
Yeah. So they'll put it under the dirt and so I've seen something with USA BMX I haven't seen anywhere before. But I was going to tell you one last thing about the transponder. That I remember I was in another country that wasn't USA, by the way, it wasn't Australia, and it's the first time they ever used a Sqorz transponders. This guy came up to me and said, "I'm just working out where to put this transponder. Does this look okay to you?" And he'd put it on the wheel.
What?
Whoops!
Whoa!
On the wheel, which meant
round and around.
Yeah, so potentially he was at an advantage or disadvantage depending where he was when he went over that timing loop.
That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, because if the transponder was at the bottom of the wheel as it crossed or on the back or front side.
Yeah, it would be all
different. On the back. So it's going around like this. So
right.
Anyway, I explained to him that was the wrong place to put it.
Yeah, that could get very confusing.
That would have been very confusing.
To the
anyway, so
reader.
Yeah. USA BMX, they come up with this really novel way of putting the timing loops in the dirt, and because it's hard work sometimes to put it in temporarily. How do you do it? What's the best way to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Do you cut channels? How do you cut channels and that kind of stuff? And it was last year at the Grands last year, and Chris Luna, who we know and love, said, Martin, I found a great way to put them in. And he got an electric chainsaw, and he just used a chainsaw in the dirt, right? And just went right across the dirt and dug a channel like that and pushed in the wire, and then brushed the foot over and jumped on it and said, there you go. And he'd done it, right? So it's quite...
That sort of makes perfect sense.
No need to over-engineer it.
Yeah.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
Now I've got some great photos, got some great pictures of him doing that. But...
Well, and Matt Boshin had shared in the chat that at their track, they tried to do the conduit in the concrete at the bottom of the start hill, but it was a huge problem. So he said they ended up putting a saw cut in the top, and then they put silicone in the wire or over the wire to kind of close the channel.
Oh,
yeah.
And then it would
read
through that.
Yeah. That's a great way of doing it, especially in concrete, because it means you don't go too deep. You only go half an inch or no more than.
Right.
Huh. That is cool.
He's our other friend in Australia too that tunes in each week to watch the show.
Yeah. Oh, the transponders have been around in Australia for years and years.
Right.
So,
yeah. To me, that's always been an interesting thing, how it's been adopted out like different places for long periods of time, and it's still really getting caught on here.
That's fairly new to BMX racing. Yeah.
It is.
In the United States. Yeah, it's new here in the United States.
Yeah, US. Yeah.
But the good thing is that you learn from the mistakes, because you've come in and like I say, in Australia, we only put 2 loops in in the tracks, 2 timing loops, and no one's got the energy to put a third one in. But every single track in the US has at least 3 timing loops, so you learn from that. So that's been to your advantage.
Is it possible to add more than 3?
Yeah. You could do it at any time. You just need motivation and machinery and
and I assume more hardware for the decoders and all that type of stuff, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. The sky's the limit.
So there's a cost to that, so it'd be extra to add more. But like you said, having the whole shot challenge, it would be cool to have one coming out of the first corner. If money was not an issue and time and effort.
Is there a track that has you can think of off the top of your head? Like what's a track that has the most loops? Or
Hardesty.
How many loops do they have?
Oh man, they've got one on there. They've got 1, 2, 1. They've got the kink. They've got the 5-meter hill and the 8-meter hill. Entrance and exit of every corner.
Oh wow.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then we built a sprint track on the concourse next to the first straight. So they've got 3 timing loops on there, and we use electric light beam for the start. So they could go right up to that light beam, they could start and they cross the light beam, and then they've got 3 timing loops on that sprint straight.
Wow.
So that is cool.
Which is great because it's easy and people can. It's a great challenge because sprint's easy. There's no bumps and all that kind of stuff to go up and down, and people could do that. So that's a great timing tool for them. And essentially, I think we put it all together with 11 decoders.
Wow.
It's 11 decoders. Yeah. So it's big. I would say that, as far as I know, that's probably the biggest, most comprehensive installation world globally that I know of. And I think I know them.
Being able to know your time in and out of a turn, like at that top expert pro level, it's got to be valuable.
Yeah.
Being able to take a line, find out if this was faster, that was faster.
Yeah, depending on, start out low, go high, or opposite. You could play around with all that. That would be interesting.
Yeah. It's
I mean, that's not going to make a difference in any race I'm in, but, hey.
We're lucky to get around the track these days. How much traveling you do with that pertains to Sqorz?
So this year I did a fair bit because France came on board and they wanted some help, and I like to make sure I help them and they can stand up on their own 2 feet before I step back. So there was a few trips to Europe this year, at the beginning of the year, and obviously I go to the Grands every year because I really, really enjoy going to the Grands. It's a great experience, and I learn so much. Right, and next year, who knows? I love going around. There's something about going to different tracks and different places, because I reckon that virtually any BMX problem that's ever happened in the whole world has been solved by some track operator at some track somewhere, right? So whenever you go somewhere, you just see something. I learn so much from what everybody else is doing, and constantly my ideas are being challenged by going. So someone says, I do it this way, and I was like, wow, I never thought of that, and now I know, right? So these trips and visits to different places have just been amazing. Always amazing.
What was the neatest thing this year at Grands for you?
What was the neatest thing? The neatest thing was a learning. The biggest thing I walked away from the Grands this year was a learning. Was a massive learning, and the learning was because there's loads of amazing stuff. Always the Grands is amazing, but what I realized was, because I think I know a bit about timing because I've done it in lots of different places, and I can advise and give people help about the best way to implement and do stuff. But for the Grands and for USA BMX, it's been different. And I haven't quite, because everybody says they're different, right? Wherever they go. With the French, they tell me we are different because we are the French or whatever. And everyone is different in a way from a national perspective. And USA BMX, we're different too. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, everyone's told me they're different. But I think USA BMX is really, really different. And here's the reason why. Because from a cultural perspective nationally, everybody has their own differences. But USA BMX is culturally different in the BMX, the way you guys do BMX, because every other country apart from USA has a UCI, a very, very strong UCI influence. Okay. Most other tracks or most other countries, most other organizations have the UCI rule book as their base, and they may have deviated from that a bit, and there's a lot that comes down from UCI and racing and rules and all that type of stuff, and it impacts your BMX culture. But you guys in the States just have a different way of doing it, and it really is different. It's not nationally different, it's BMX, culturally BMX different, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And for me, that was a massive learning, because the way USA BMX treat your riders and the different rules you have and the different approaches and the different way you tackle different problems inherently is different in USA. So that was a massive learning for me. So what I have to do is get what I know about timing and what I learn about USA every time and think about things in a different way. So that, for me, that was massive.
Cool. Very cool. Okay. We're going to do our chat check-in, Martin. We're going to jump over to Melissa, and it's brought to you by BMX Rocks Photography. Melissa, I see the chat room's been extremely busy back there.
Yep. We're going to say hi to Rick Carter. Jim Bosco is tuning in, Low and Slow over on YouTube. Welcome. Nick Valencia is with us this evening. Brian Fells over on Mega Design. Checking in. Braden Lewis with AOT is also in the house. Robert Cardoza is tuning in over on YouTube. We talked about Matt Boshin being in there and saying that he was here live on Thursday. Don Mulvihill, 22 Racing, is watching. Crit Plate is with us over on Facebook. Scott Foster's tuning in. Paul Remington, what's up? Mark Tim says, hey guys. Mike Miranda Hollywood is in the house. He says, tell that Martin guy to stop faking that accent. I know he's in Bakersfield. Matt said, yep, it's tropical where he's from in Australia. Billy from Gate 9 Number Plates is with us. Chris's daughter was over on Twitch. Looks like the hangout fell through, so I don't have a whole lot of Twitch presence this evening, I guess.
Uh-oh. There goes those Twitch numbers.
It's making it a lot easier for me to read the chat, though. Hollywood, Martin wanted to know if you can set up a timing system from one burrito to the next. Jokingly.
Who wanted to know that?
Hollywood.
Hollywood, Mike Miranda.
I thought that would be a Nick Valencia question, because all he ever thinks about is food, and then he tries to blame it on me. But
that's funny that you say that, because I think the last thing I saw in the chat before I scrolled back up was Nick wanting you to make some snack recommendations.
It's his thing, and then he tries to push it on me. That's what he does.
It sounds like it.
I think Hollywood needs to get one of these timing chips and see how fast he can get from his recliner to the refrigerator and back.
Yeah, there you go. Set up his own loop.
A couple of timing loops in the living room by the refrigerator.
Yeah, that would be good.
We're going to say hi to Jason Crouch over on Facebook. Stephen Latchford also tuning in. Alex Paz says he's also noticed the French have an outstanding and very organized program which allows efficiencies to be implemented quickly to achieve maximum performance, which is a very well-worded comment. Matt says almost every rider I know wants to go through their gate times almost immediately. It's a really important training tool. Let's see who Jason Crouch is coming off any meter hill. It varies your attack during the transition. I agree with the loop a few feet out of the transition. Yeah, that makes sense to me too. The stomachless dude. We know who you are.
What's up, Kip?
AOT Kip.
Yep.
Over on YouTube says, hey. Let's see. Oh, Jason also had asked if you knew off the top of your head how many feet of wire was used for grands. And actually, I think Gmo's in the chat, so he might know too. But do you know how many feet were used?
Oh no, I'd have to think in meters and then multiply by 3 and a bit and get feet. So
or give us in meters. We'll figure it out.
Somebody else can do the math.
yeah, well, we measured from the hill. Well, there was 6 timing loops there, right? Because they wanted a timing loop at the bottom of the hill, entrance and exit at the first corner, and then Gmo does this great thing where he times a straight. So the grounds he timed the third straight. So we needed one on the entrance and exit of the third straight and one on the finish. So there were 6 loops there. So each of those we'll run cables back to. I had a booth set up near Gmo and we run them back there. But the hill loop to the booth was over 100 meters. So that was over 300, probably about 350 feet, I suppose. And the entrance to and exit of the second corner was probably about another 330 feet. I don't know. I'd have to add it all up, but there's a fair bit there.
Yeah, I'm so for it.
In saying that, I need to give a call out to Jason Crouch because he's the guy that came up with that tagline that says "It's about time."
Oh, well, that's cool. He's infamous now.
I told him I'd take credit for it, but I can't. It was him.
Nice. I like that.
Well, we're still using that. I think it's a great one.
It is.
And Brian Fell said he'd give me $5 if I mention Mega Designs.
Oh, well, there you go.
Is it $5 every time you mention it?
Yeah, so I'm on a $5 at the moment. So we'll build that up.
That's right. All right. So Red River BMX says, "Thank you, Martin, for all your help with our timing system at Red River BMX. We are excited to roll it out in 2024 at the Red River National." Glenn Slusher tuning in says, "Making BMX great again in Hawaii."
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotta get Sandbox back open.
Sandbox, I was going to say.
Right.
I want to
been
go
there.
there.
Yeah, exactly. If you need any help, let me know.
Yeah. I've been there. I haven't raced there. I haven't ridden there, but I've been there and seen it.
As I mentioned, George Vick, Gmo, is in the chat over on YouTube.
Hey, Gmo.
Jason Zaboyevsky.
You want me to try?
Yeah, go for it.
You're good.
His comment was Luna to the rescue. Blaine Hoops is over on YouTube. Welcome. Haven't seen that name in a short time here.
Good to see you again.
I mentioned Nick. Who else is missing here? Jim Bosco. Oh, is your system the same as the one they used for Worlds?
No, but no.
Okay.
No.
Yes.
The short answer.
There's never a yes or no answer question. So the Worlds doesn't have timing for the challenge riders yet, and the Worlds only has time for championship riders, and that's provided by Tissot timing or Swiss timing. So it's whatever system they happen to have to use.
Okay. As mentioned, Brian Fell with Mega Design is over on YouTube. All right, so Gmo gave us an answer here. He says about 1,300 feet plus loops at the Grands, plus 400 feet for the start signal.
Damn.
Oh, yeah.
And then George said Worlds has never used timing for amateur. So, which I think you kind of mentioned. So,
well, we'd love to change that.
Yeah. Starting now.
There you go.
Yet, he says. Good
I
point.
think the time is now for that.
Yeah, the time is now.
Time is now. Thank you, Jason.
That's right. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate it. If anybody's got any additional questions for Martin, go ahead and get them in the chat.
All right. Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, BMX Rocks, for that. We appreciate you guys. And again, chat question of the night. Who's your favorite Australian BMXer? If you guys haven't done it, put it in the chat. Post it on the social media page, too. All right. We're back with hanging out here, talking timing. All right. Thanks again, Melissa. And the implementation, we're talking possibly putting it on the Worlds for the challenge classes. That's the amateur side. Championship classes, champions. Is that what it is?
championship class is all run by Tissot Timing. They have a long-standing agreement with UCI.
That's just the pros, right? Like what we would equate to the pros.
Correct.
Yeah. Challenge would be like your.
I know what. Are you flying over here for the Rock Hill, the World's event at Rock Hill this year or 2024?
I will be at Rock Hill almost certainly in one capacity or another. Yeah.
Okay. I see what's going on there. Hey, so let's talk about the kid winning the World Cup this year. How was that for you?
That was great. That was amazing. So it's been a tough gig for her with her brother crashing, and she crashed a few times herself. And last year she had a serious chat. She said, "I'm giving up BMX." And for her to turn that around and put it back and pull out those wins was just amazing. You know, it really, really was. But the interesting thing is that people come up to me and say, "Oh, you must be so proud," and doing all that type of stuff. But even if she didn't get the win, you know, she's just worked just as hard. In fact, they've all those riders worked just as hard. And it's knowing what they do in the background that I'm proud of. And the result is great because that's what they're aiming for. But for me, I'm just as proud of them either way. And I think every parent is for their kids in that respect.
Sure. It's a lot of hard work. It's commitment. There's quite a bit to it. It's not just going and racing your bike. There's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. A lot of folks don't understand.
How many World Cup events have you been to?
Oh, World Cups, I've only been a handful, maybe 5.
Yeah. What? So you've been to Grands, you know, you've been to the World Cup. The Grands has a lot more amateur stuff going on, but like, what is that like for us that haven't, been to one of the World Cups? Like, because that level of racing is crazy.
It's amazing. So you've got a World Cup coming up at Hardesty.
Yep.
About 2 weeks before the World Championships at Rock Hill. So, hold on. So you've got a World Championship, a World Cup there. It's amazing because the racing is always, even the slowest rider, the racing is fantastic. It's absolutely amazing, and it's very slow paced, right? Because you've only got, say, 300 riders that are riding through the day. So for the UCI World Cup racing, it's really important that everything is done just right. There's no winging it. There's no we'll get by and all that kind of stuff. Your timing is perfect, your racing is perfect, and everything is done as it should be. There's very little arguing. Everybody knows their role and what that is. All the pros know what they're doing. They're very professional. Staging is obviously, there's not very many people that everyone knows what's happening. It's just nice, ordered, well done, amazing racing.
Sounds, and this might be a bad analogy, it sounds kind of like Formula One, where everything is like a notch up from where everything else is.
Yeah, I'd say, you're right. Everybody there is a professional and they all have their roles and they know what they're doing, and no one's new to the game, and they're doing it for themselves, but they're also doing it for the sport and the wider audience. And I'd say your analogy is great.
I would like to get to that event to see one. Yeah, that'd be cool.
It would be.
What do you do when you're not BMXing?
That's the trouble, right? Because every day is a BMX day, especially seeing as my business is in the sport. Then it's hard to get away. It's hard to get away.
Yeah.
It's hard to go. And, I've been trained because ever since my kids were young, every weekend was BMX. So when they're not here, I'm thinking, well, what do I do? Well, I'll just get stuck into some work or do something. So really what I need to do is find a bit more time. I love what I'm doing, so that's really good. But what I need to do is take some time out and do some stuff myself, which I'm not very good at.
Oh, okay. No. So I guess you don't have a hobby.
No, there's no time, right? Because it's all work. Of course, there's time. You can make time. But then when you step out of work, there's that list of household chores you've got to do.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
that you avoid by going back to work, right? Say, oh, I really, really don't want to fix that thing around the house or mow the lawn. I think I'll go and answer a few emails.
That's hilarious.
There you go. For sure.
Martin, I wanted to ask how Kaya's recovery is going. I've been following along on his social medias.
Oh, have you? Oh, thanks for that. Thank you.
Yeah.
So he's amazing, honestly. He's amazing. How he's tackled this injury and what he's been doing has been brilliant.
Yeah.
He's been he's just so focused on trying to pick things up and do things. So he wants to be a rower. He wants to be a Paralympic rower. So and that drives him to do things that he might not normally do. And we've been told by many of these professionals that are working with him that he had a huge injury, but the way he's tackled it and his recovery is they're just astounded every time he does something. So it's last year he said because people with that type of head injury they don't do things. They sit at home and vegetate. And he says he wants to do this. He wants to do this rowing. The place where he rows is about an hour and 20 minutes from where we are, and then obviously they do rowing that starts at 5 a.m. He said, "Oh mate, so I've got to go and live closer to this rowing so I could do more." So I could try and be a Paralympian. And I said, I don't think you're ready, Kai. There's lots of things you can't do by yourself yet and all that type of stuff. I think you're probably better off just still staying at home. What about this? What about that? And he said, yeah, okay then. And then 2 weeks later, he said, I found a place. And totally ignored what I said. Yeah. Great, and he moved, right? And last year he got his driving license back, so now he's able to drive. He drives with his left foot and with a handle on the steering wheel. So his gas pedal is the left side of the brake pedal. Anyway, so I talk all day about him, so tell me when to stop. But he's doing really well with his rowing, and we've started doing a lot of public speaking. And we found that it's very inspirational. People have told us it's inspirational. He's done stuff for the senior management of insurance companies, and they've had him come back because he's got this compelling story. It's not just about someone who's worked hard and got a gold medal. It's about someone who's worked hard for all of his life to get somewhere, and then it was the rug got pulled out from under his feet just before he's there, and then how what he's doing from there. And the story is like he takes people on this story of how he goes up and then he comes crashing down and he brings them up again. And what he's doing, and that story hasn't finished yet; it's still going. And the response has been that it's very inspirational and that type of stuff. And what that means for him is he practices speaking, and he practices this speech, and he practices delivery. His injury affected his left side of his brain, where your speech stuff is. And so all this work and practicing speaking has helped him with his normal day-to-day speaking and that type of stuff. So it's been phenomenal how he's got and where he's got. So today we're on a plane down to Melbourne. We're going down to Melbourne today later on because he's doing some speaking. They've asked him and paid for him to come down to there. And Melbourne's about 800 k's from where we are. 500 miles. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, 8 and 5 is easy, right? And then he'll do stuff there tomorrow. He's got a torch. He's got a Paralympic torch. So because he was invited over to Tokyo at the Olympic Games there to participate in the Paralympic torch relay. And then he was able to bring that torch back home. And those torches, they're as rare. You can't buy them in Home Depot, right?
Right. That's amazing.
It's the only one that's not in. It's the only one that's not in Tokyo. Everyone else was a Tokyo Paralympic torch relay person. So it's more rare than a gold medal.
I bet that's fun through airport security.
Right.
Yeah. So, well, when you go on a plane in the States and all the BMX riders, they get their bikes and they put them in a golf bag.
Yes.
So you don't have to pay airline fees. Well, in Australia, if you have a musical instrument, then you can take it on as your hand luggage, right?
Okay.
So I've got a small ukulele bag.
Yeah. Yep. Holds the torch.
And then I put the torch in it, and I tell everyone it's an instrument. So we could, because I don't want to put that in the hold of the airplane,
Yeah.
No,
that's crazy.
So that was a BMX idea that we took with us, and
I love that.
We put this torch in and take it with us. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, people say to me, "What kind of instrument is that?" And I'll make something up.
Make something up, yeah. So I'm a occupational therapist by day job. So it's fun to watch Kaya kind of go through this from, I mean, I remember watching the injury happen and like the replay and the survival flight and all that stuff. So it's just been so cool. And I actually was just saying to Justin the other day when we were working on our script, watching the rowing video, and I'm like, that's phenomenal. That is so much coordination. You wouldn't think, we all take it for granted, but all the way from his fingertips to the very back of his brain, trying to figure out how to coordinate all that, it's phenomenal. So that's great. It's been fun to watch him.
And good. Well, I'll talk about it all day long, but that rowing, it's really hard, right? I didn't think it was. It looks so, people make it look so easy.
Correct. But it is way more complicated when you break it down step by step and all the neurotransmitters and all the different muscles. I mean, he's using everything in his body. That's awesome.
It is. And having to work in a team, like if you're a BMX rider, you're not in a team ever, really. It's all you, right? So, and he was trying to go as hard as possible with these other people in the boat, and because he's doing that and they're out of sync, they're all slowing down.
Yes. Yep.
So he's got to work out, how do I row in sync with everybody else? Really, really challenging, I think.
Yeah. That's a whole nother level. It's one thing to control yourself, but then to try to match your movement patterns to somebody else, totally different world. Yeah. So kudos to him.
So he's doing well. Thank you. Thanks. I love people come and ask me about him all the time. I know people are following him. He's really been open about his story, which I think is great. And he tells people about how he's doing. And the more people that see that, the more people follow him, the better, I think. So thank you all for doing
The other thing I think that I appreciate about him, that I would share with him if I had the opportunity, but I also appreciate that not every video that he posts is a success. He also posts like the frustrations and I remember trying to watch him open a container or, try to pick something up off the table. And, it's great that one time you get it open, but it's the hundreds of times that he's tried prior to that one success. Wow. And I think that's super cool. Obviously my heart and brain go to that right away, but it's really cool for him to share the ups and downs of his journey.
Yeah. And isn't that your typical BMXer though? At least Willoughby gets a good, and Joris, they get good racing, but they've had millions of failures before that people never see.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. That's true. You tend to focus on the positive, not all those
celebrate the good
difficulties and failures you had.
Yeah. I think what do they say? It takes 10 years to make an overnight success. And all that type of stuff.
That's right.
Yeah.
People never see that stuff behind the scenes. So thank you for watching with this, and I'm glad you're an OT because that brings a whole bunch of different stuff for you that you'll see in there that other people won't.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I still I will sit and try to watch because Justin, what do you call it? You're goofy footed.
Yes.
It doesn't make sense to me how he does his gate starts from a mechanical standpoint. So when they break it down, it's like, that's not how you should lead like that, but it works. So it's interesting to try to kind of input a little bit too. And then of course, I watch all the concussions happen left and right, which is not the good side of BMX, but it's fun to be able to kind of bring it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's got a lot different view than both of us do. That's for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Got a professional thing, and concussion is an interesting. I mean, we should probably talk about that sooner or later. But such an interesting.
The time is now.
An interesting thing, right? And what was that movie that was made with the football players that
Concussion
bumped into each other?
Yeah, that's what it was called.
It's called Concussion with Will Smith.
Yeah. So that's amazing. And over here, right? So obviously, suddenly I'm a bit more sensitive to concussion. Kai had a big one. He was in coma for 2 months, but Saya had 3. She had one at the World. No, she had one at the Olympics, and she was out. She had one in in Okeechobee the following January, and she crashed with Felicia Stansel. Felicia dislocated her hip, right, and which is a terrible injury. But because she dislocated her hip, and that's very visible, everybody wants to look after Felicia, which is right, obviously, and she's in pain and things. But Saya was knocked unconscious, and she had a concussion, and they just said, "Well, off you go, sit down somewhere." And that's the unseen injury, because it could be worse.
Don't get me started.
You know?
Yes.
So,
yes, it is very much an unseen injury that takes time to recover from and can sometimes have lasting effects.
I experienced that with one of my daughters. Yeah, she's still having little issues here and there. And it's
Headache,
been several
motor
years.
control, vision, fine motor control. Yeah, it can all be affected.
Yeah.
And it only takes one. one mild concussion, and you can still affect all that stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and then multiple. That's not good either.
Nope.
That's what my daughter's had, is multiple ones, and it's so now the slightest thing is much more amplified or more, I don't know how to pronounce what I'm trying to say or bring across the point. It takes a lighter hit now to do the same amount of damage.
Yes.
How's that?
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
yeah.
How long was when your daughter had the concussion, the real bad one? You said it was 2 months. She was.
No, Kai was in a coma for 2 months when he had his. Saya had.
Yep.
So Saya had one at the Olympics, another one in Okeechobee, and then she had another one in Papendal a few months later in Holland. And she went to a clinic in Switzerland. They had a concussion clinic or something there. She went there, and she went there just to have a checkup, and they sort of said, that they felt that she had something residual from concussion she had like prior to that, a number of years ago in Colombia. She crashed in Colombia. She had pretty serious concussion. So she went there, and she spent, and this was about the time where she said she wanted to give up. After she got from there, she wanted to give up BMX. It was just too hard. She had this residual stuff. She had no motivation. She wasn't. When she was racing, she just wanted to finish the race without falling off her bike.
Yeah.
Wow.
So as a elite athlete, you're not going to win with that kind of mindset. You need to have that invincible mindset that you're going to win regardless. Anyway, so can't remember how we got onto this, but anyway, she went to Switzerland, and she wanted to go for a week and ended up spending about 2 months there, I think, which wasn't cheap, but luckily we got some friends over there that let us stay, and they helped to work through a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great.
It was really, really good. A whole bunch of exercises and things. So it's very, very positive. And they said there was stuff there, like I said, that could be residual from a few years ago. And that, coupled with everything else she did, I think that gradually helped her get her head into gear and get her back into doing her BMX and get her focus right. Mm-hmm. Because really, at the end of the day, it was a mental game. If you're the difference between saying, I'm going to do this race and I hope I finish the race without falling off my bike, or at the top of the hill, and you're saying, I'm going to win this sucker, that's the difference, because everybody's training as hard as each other.
Sure.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. All right.
I think we got a good pause here for a second. Martin will jump over and do our trivia, and then we'll do the lightning round here, which is where the rapid fire questions come into play. And these are a lot of fun here, but we'll toss it over to Melissa here, and we'll get our trivia question in, and it's brought to you by our good friends over at Bombshell Racing Systems. You guys make sure you get over there, check them out. You can see them at b2bikes.com. Check them out, or Google Bombshell Racing Systems and go check them out.
Yeah, you got a couple different websites. Check those guys.
Melissa, got a good one this evening?
I'd never know.
You never know.
How to answer that question. All right, Martin, don't answer. Hopefully you know the answer. Hopefully I heard this correctly. All right, I don't know why that keeps glitching. Sorry, my camera's kind of messing up a little bit. Sticker prize pack going out to the winner. There's some Danger Snacks in here and some show sponsor stickers. And I also dug down into the vault here, and you all need to be on this. I have a BMX Cruise, Mighty Mo's BMX Cruise beverage cozy in white going out to the winner. So go check out their Facebook page, get in touch with his wife Anita, get on the cruise.
Yeah, they're going December 14th, 2024, and spots are filling up. So if you're considering doing this Mighty Mo's BMX Cruise, you want to get on that.
Yeah, agreed. And then I got, in honor of the chilly weather, a ski cap here, knit cap here from our good pal over at Ghetto Wear. Happy retirement too, by the way, sir.
Congratulations, buddy.
Big day to Mr. William Prince over there, down there in Florida, I guess it is.
Yep.
Okay, so earlier in the conversation, we kind of started talking with Martin about the development of the Sqorz system. And he told us about how long it took for them to complete the process of developing the Sqorz. So I'm looking for how long did it take before they were up and running with their first protocol?
Oh. George Victor said he might be going on the cruise too.
Oh.
We're going to Gmo there too.
See,
yeah, it's the first time that those poor USA BMX
right. They don't have
guys don't have
on.
Grands to prep for and all those other
George,
last-minute nationals.
Get on that, George, because I'm serious. I talked to Mo, and he said he sold more rooms for this cruise than he has the previous two already, and it's only been a couple months. So
be a good time.
Seriously, get on that, guys, because there's only so many rooms blocked off for the cruise.
All right. It is time for lightning round. Martin, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. We are going to go to lightning round. Lightning round's brought to you by 110 Nutrition. 110 Nutrition, their mission is to deliver the highest quality products and service supplement in the industry. Visit 110 Nutrition at 110nutrition.com. Use the All Things BMX discount code. Are you ready?
That is the discount code.
Use
All
that
Things
discount.
BMX.
Use it. Save yourself 10%. I think it's 10%.
Yeah, 10%.
10%.
Yeah, it's good. It's good
Off
stuff.
110% nutrition.
There you go. That could get confusing.
All right.
All right, Martin, I got the first question. The last movie you liked so much you watched it twice.
Oh, I was watching it the other day. I can't remember what it was. Oh, Snowpiercer.
Okay.
Right.
Not familiar with that one.
Not either.
Yeah. It's got a Korean producer. It's really interesting.
Oh, cool.
So it's a bit weird.
Okay. Would you go skydiving? I'm sorry.
Oh, the part of me says yes, and the other part of me says no.
Fair enough.
The rational versus the irrational.
Yeah, the kids did it. I'd love to do it, but I think I'd be really scared.
Yeah.
But I'm sure I'd enjoy it once I hit the ground.
Right.
But not literally.
Do you make a New Year's resolution?
No.
Nope.
Okay.
I think that's the wrong time to do it. I think you have to really think about these resolutions. A change in life, or something that you're doing, or your behavior, or something. I think you need to think about it for me, and it would be rash for me to do that. I definitely wouldn't do what I said I was going to do.
I think that makes sense. All right, Martin, which celebrity annoys you the most?
Oh, do you know what it is? I don't know if it's which celebrity, but it's breakfast TV hosts. A lot of them really annoy me. They've got opinions. They got opinions. They talk too loud. They all talk all over each other. The whole thing is messy.
I like
it annoys me.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. We haven't gotten that one. That's a good one. All right. Is your bed made right now?
Yes.
All right.
Loosely.
Good enough for me.
There you go.
That's all it counts. It counts. Do you believe in aliens?
No. Oh. No. No.
No?
You can change your answer.
Change your answer. It's not a test or anything.
I don't think I've seen enough evidence yet.
Okay.
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so.
If you could transform into an animal, which one would it be?
Oh, do you know what? I immediately think of tiger, but tigers, it's just because they're cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was at work, they used to call me giraffe, and I hated it. And I told them not to do that because I'm tall.
Oh my gosh. If you could go back and give your 18-year-old self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Dress smarter.
Oh,
Dress smarter.
okay.
Okay. What was your first job?
What's my first what?
What was your first job?
Oh, I worked on an archaeological dig. So when I left school when I was 16,
Huh?
and there was all these government programs for people when they left school, because I left school when I was early, and there was one for an archaeological dig. So I worked on that, which was really interesting. It was in the UK, and we go around and dig up these old Roman ruins, and all that stuff with trowels and sifting through dirt and that was really interesting. We'd have to go where they were going to build a moat. There's a place, I can't remember what the name of the village. There's a small village, and it used to have a road that went through there, and they were going to build a bypass that went around the village because you don't want all the traffic to go through. It slows up and clogs up the village and stuff. And the bypass was going over a Roman graveyard, so we had to go and sort of pull out all of these, get these graves and skeletons and clean all the stuff off them and photograph them and label them, put them all in bags and that kind of stuff. So it was really, really interesting.
I've
that's pretty
never
wild.
known anyone to do that.
That was your first job?
Yeah, when I was 16. Well, my first job technically was a paper round when I was.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was my first job. Yeah.
Man, that beats the heck out of McDonald's.
I think that goes right to the top of the list for coolest first jobs we've had.
Right. A for archaeology.
There you go.
Yeah, I like it.
For sure.
Martin, what's your favorite day of the week?
Oh, probably Monday. There you go. Let's go for one.
Okay.
Because it's quiet. Because it's always a quiet day.
Yeah.
Stuff happens on the weekend. It just gets progressively harder. But Sunday night, emails tail off, and Monday morning there's nothing in my mailbox really, and it's just a quiet day.
I like that.
Who is your hero?
Hi. And Sire.
Yeah.
Actually, both of them.
Okay.
I can see
And
that.
I know it's corny as to say that about your kids, but I really do believe that.
I don't think that's corny at all.
All right. You pull into an empty parking lot. You turn down a row. There's spots to park on both sides, left and right side, completely empty. Do you park on the left or do you park on the right?
He's already driving. On the
probably
wrong
park on
side.
the left, I expect.
Okay.
Because we drive on the left.
Yeah, I was gonna say they already drive on the opposite side.
I was interested in that. Okay.
But
Yeah,
it's still to the driver side, so
Right.
it's still easier.
I think it's natural because when you park on the side of the road and you're parking in, that's your natural reversing
Oh yeah,
way to go.
definitely. What's your favorite holiday?
Probably Christmas because it is one. Because there's no other holiday.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, for me.
I suppose for us, we probably have a few.
Yeah,
Actually, you're not celebrating the 4th of July, huh?
Yeah,
No,
probably not.
but I know you guys do. We used to have these. We have a great relationship with riders in Japan because we used to live in Japan for a number of years, and that's where the kids spent a lot of time growing up for 6 years, and we always kept this very strong relationship with Japanese BMX scene over there. And what we do every year is a number of Japanese riders would come over and stay with us over Christmas. So it was always fun, right? It was always, the kids would come over, they're always happy, they're out training and racing and talking BMX all the time. And then we'd have Christmas, which would be something different for them. And it was always a really, really good time. They jump in the pool because it's summer and hot. right? It was just brilliant. So for me, that was a really, really great time.
That's cool.
Very cool.
Okay. What's your favorite sport other than BMX?
I've been watching rugby and on TV a fair bit just because the kids watch it, but probably that one. But I don't really.
Oh.
It is BMX. It's BMX or BMX. It really is.
Really?
The BMX and then the other BMX.
And the other BMX, yeah. But I do like watching a bit of. And do you know what? When the Olympics is on, then everything's great, right? Because it's just 4 weeks and the Paralympics of great sports. You know, that's.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was the last thing that you Googled?
It was probably a track. I think I was looking at a racetrack somewhere to look at something for timing.
Makes sense.
All right.
Oh no, it's been LED screens. It's been LED screens. Look at LEDs.
Okay. If you were going to write a book, what would it be about?
It'd have to be interesting, right? So it can't be about me. It'd have to be. What would it be about? Technology. Using technology to make sports better. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, great
I
subject.
like that.
That'll work. All right.
You know.
Okay. I guess quick preface this question with: have you ever raced BMX?
No, never.
Okay.
I've been around the track probably less than 10 times on a bike.
Okay.
Oh,
So
wow.
you probably won't have a good answer for this, but do you prefer a carbon, fiber, aluminum, or chromoly BMX racing frame?
Okay, so we talked racing. So obviously it's not chrome moly because that's too heavy.
Yeah.
But I think probably carbon, and probably because it's stiffer. Based on what I see the kids doing and stuff.
Yeah.
But the reality is, I don't think there's a huge amount of difference. There's a lot of people out there racing great stuff on aluminum bikes.
Sure.
Okay. Would you rather travel back in time or travel to the future?
Future, definitely. I'm really, really interested to see where we go with technology. When I was a kid, I loved science fiction and looking forward and all this type of stuff. So definitely the future. I'm so, where are we going with technology, right? Where are we going to be? Where's our society going to be in 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years time? I'm really, really keen to see that stuff.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
All right. If you had to change your first name, what would it be?
What would it be? Well, I've never thought of that. It would either be something ridiculous, like Elon Musk gives his kids something ridiculous, so I can be different from everybody else, or it's just going to be another name but none of those names suit me. Say David or John or Michael or Peter or Justin or Chris or whatever. They just don't feel right, Mark, there you go, Mark. Let's go, Mark.
Mark, there you go.
And I'll tell you why, because I get on the phone and people say, "What's your name?" and I say Martin, and say, "Okay, Mark, $90."
Right.
Okay. So,
just go with it.
Yeah. Right. What's your favorite type of music to listen to?
I do like reggae. I like reggae a lot, and I like. I quite like sort of electronic music if it's not too heavy.
Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of that's a big switch there.
Do you have a favorite? Do you have a favorite group?
My favorite group?
Yeah. In the
Talking Heads.
Say it again.
Talking Heads.
Good band.
Yeah.
Good.
How can it not be Talking Heads? They're just amazing.
Yeah.
Bit of a delay there.
Yeah, they really. I just listened to Talking Heads when I was young, and even now, the same songs I listen to there are just as amazing. And they've got that movie out that I need to see. What's it? Stop Making Sense. I need to see that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Your favorite type of cookie?
Macadamia nut cookie.
That's a good call right there. Goddamn good.
The white chocolate in it.
Damn.
Oh, white chocolate. I love white chocolate.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Macadamia nut, white chocolate.
Would your 12-year-old self think you were cool?
Probably not. I'm so far away from where I was at 12 years old. It's untrue. But, yeah.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah. Do you prefer to text someone or talk to them on the phone?
I quite like talking, actually, to be honest. And I like the interaction of conversation.
All right,
if it's a quick message, I'm okay with that. But I actually like talking to people and talking things through.
You need to ask Brian's question.
Okay, second to last question. This is by Mega Design. There's another $5 for you. By Brian Fell at Mega Design. He'd like to know, do you like Vegemite?
I do like Vegemite.
Okay.
I do like Vegemite.
All right.
But and the problem with Vegemite is that people don't do it first. They don't do it properly first, and then they lose it. Vegemite is salty, right? So you don't, but it looks like chocolate. So you don't do what all the Japanese tourists do when they come to Australia and it's breakfast time and you put it on your toast thinking it's chocolate spread. Then you've got no chance, right? But it's actually, if you put it on sparingly with toast with lots of butter, it's really tasty. But if you get Vegemite, right, and you put it on toast, Vegemite and avocado and a fried egg on toast, it's just brilliant. It's really, really nice.
I bet that is probably good.
So it must
With
enhance the
salty,
flavor of the egg in the toast and everything. It all just goes together and then creates a taste.
And that runny yolk that goes over it is just great.
All right.
Nice.
There you go.
That's
Brian's
good.
is gross.
That's good to know. Yeah, but Fel, did you have it done that way? That's the question.
Yeah.
I don't think it
Yeah.
would matter.
Like two Florida State final championship races ago, McLean Josh had some at the champion, and I was with Brian hanging out with him under the Mega Design tent. There's another $5. And I remember like they were passing it around, and I was like, no, I'll pass, hard pass. I don't think we had anything.
Try it?
We didn't. I don't think we had anything like
Something
even
to put it on.
put it on or anything.
Oh,
but, yeah,
okay.
Josh brought it.
I'll keep that in mind if I ever get the chance to try it.
Have it the right way.
I met this fella from Australia named Martin, and he told me this is how you got to try it.
Don't put it on your sweet roll.
No. All right. Last question in our lightning round. Are you ready?
Yep.
All right. Your favorite? Well, see, here's the thing.
It would be Thursday.
Where you're at, I got to modify the question. Your favorite Thursday morning live BMX show?
All Things BMX.
Yay!
There we go.
Obviously. Yeah.
Do we want to go over how we get
Do what?
how we get these guys and what we do with them once we get them?
With the transponders?
Yeah, like all right,
Sqorz.com.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. How so folks know if you want to get one of these transponders to use the Sqorz system, you have to go to Sqorz.com, and there's a spot in there where you can order these. And
go to your track. Go to your track. Go to your local track. So you can order them through USA BMX. They have some on hand always.
Okay.
But I think your track should have them because the track can purchase them at a slight discount.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
From the manufacturer, you could go directly to MyLaps, or you could go to your track, and they should be roughly the same price. But your track's going to benefit, which is really good.
Oh, okay, because they're going to get a little extra money for them, which will then help out the track.
So the USA is the only country in the world where we've done this. I went to MyLaps, which produces this system. We use MyLaps timing system in BMX. We use it because everyone else in the world uses MyLaps timing system. So to use something else would be madness, right?
Okay.
And what it means is you can have this chip on your bike and use it anywhere in the world. So I went to MyLaps USA, who are based in Atlanta, told them that I was working with USA BMX and we were going to try and bring timing into the States, and could we do a special deal for the tracks so they can get transponders at a slight discount, and then they could help them be tracks, and
Sure.
they came to the party on that. So if riders go to their tracks and purchase the transponders from the track operators, then that gives them, we're not talking like millions of dollars here, but every little bit helps, especially if you're a non-for-profit.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So if your local track is using the Sqorz system, buy the transponder from the local track. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Awesome.
Support your local track.
Yeah, Waterford did a pre-sale or sold them already. They did like, I think they did. They got like they did like an order of 50 of them here a few weeks ago, and
I forgot about that. Yes.
yeah, way to go. Way not to support your track, Chris.
Well,
You just lost your board seat. It's all right. You can still have the helicopter pad that they put in for you.
sure.
Melissa, did we get an answer on the trivia?
No, I don't think that I did.
Well,
I don't think
Oh,
that
well,
I
let's
did.
ask it
Gonna
one
have
more
to
time
roll
real quick
over.
while we're still on here.
well, let's ask Martin what it was.
Oh,
We got an answer now. We don't.
that's true.
How long did it take to develop, Martin?
Do I get the cruise?
We don't have that kind of
Yeah,
sponsorship.
no, we don't have that pull. We don't have that
If I
pull.
answer it correctly. No. Okay, so it took us 18 months to get the first version out to Castle Hill Club in New South Wales in Australia to get that first iteration out. It took a year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay.
I can get you a bro deal discount code possibly to the Mighty Mo's BMX cruise.
Right, that's a great That's a great option B. I'll take it.
Chris, you want to let them know who's on next week?
All right. So check this out. Next week, we are going to have Owen Davis, who is also known as the Ginger Spice, the rapper. This is the fella that did the rapping at the USA BMX Grands
Pro Spectacular.
during the Pro Spectacular.
Yep.
So we're going to have Owen on next week. We're going to find out all about that. And he's got quite a bit of BMX stuff going on as well. So we're going to learn all about the rapper at the Grands last week.
And if you guys can, go check out his Instagram page. He's got some links over. He's a hell of a freestyler. That's what he's doing. He does. He rides for Monster Army and Fly. Just a all-around badass, man.
That's I was just gonna say, yeah. So he's
It'd be a good time.
he's a rider, man. We're gonna talk with him next week.
Yeah, be fun. Hey, Martin, we want to toss it over to you for any shout outs, thanks, anything you want to do to close us out here. I'm gonna give the screen to you and let you take it away here before we sign off this evening. All right.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Well, thanks. Obviously, shout out to you guys. Thanks very much for bringing me onto your show. It's been great. I was really a little bit of anticipation, but you made it so easy. It was great. Shout out to everybody. Well, USA BMX have been amazing how they worked with me on this project. There's obviously people in there, the Gmos, the Chris's, the Cody's, everybody there's been fantastic. But Gmo, I think, probably gets the biggest shout out for the work he's done. He's the videographer, all-time round good guy. I've never seen him annoyed, and he just does everything for everybody. It's been great.
Yeah,
it's been really good.
He's I guess you'd call him kind of a friend of the show. We've had him on as a guest, and
yeah, we had a BMX.
stuff.
We had a show about Prince that we talked a little bit of BMX on.
that's right.
It was a great show.
You know what? I joined that show, and I was going to listen for 5 minutes. I was in it for the older, and it was so engaging. He had me in there for the whole hour and a half. It was great.
Appreciate that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, Martin, thank you for taking time out of your morning to hang out with us. Even though you're in the future, it's good that you took some time to hang out with us here in the past. We appreciate it. As always, man, you know what? Love to have you on for another show here in the future. Our future, your future,
Everybody's future.
everyone's future. If you're up for it, we'll get a hold of you and schedule another show, and love to do some more talking BMX with you.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I feel like I've got loads more to talk about, and with you guys, it would be fun.
Well, great. Well, thank you again for joining us today. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everyone else in the chat and listening later or right now, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Make sure to like and subscribe. I know you guys get tired of hearing that, but it helps us out, and we appreciate it. A little thumbs up would be great. Join us next week when we talk to Ginger. What was it? Ginger
Spice.
Oh, the rapper. So we'll talk with Owen Davis next week about that. Till then, everybody have a great week. God bless you. Take care.
I got moto. I got moto.